Life in a South African prison, a harrowing journey behind bars. Prisons around the world often reflect the societal challenges and systemic inequalities of the nations they serve. In South Africa, the penal system stands as a stark reminder of the country's enduring struggles with poverty, inequality, and crime. Being incarcerated in a South African prison is a profoundly challenging experience, one marked by overcrowding, violence, inadequate resources, and deeply entrenched gang culture. For many inmates, life behind bars is not just a loss of freedom, but a daily battle for survival. This detailed account explores the realities of being locked up in a South African prison, shedding light on the conditions, struggles, and systemic issues that define incarceration in the country. Overcrowding, a system under strain. Overcrowding is one of the most pressing issues facing South Africa's prison system. With the country's incarceration rate among the highest in Africa, many facilities operate far beyond their intended capacity. Cells designed to hold 20 inmates may house 50 or more, creating an environment that is both physically and emotionally suffocating. The numbers behind the crisis. South Africa's prison population often exceeds 160,000, despite facilities being designed for a maximum capacity of approximately 120,000. This overcrowding stems from several factors, including high crime rates, slow judicial processes, and a lack of alternative sentencing options for non-violent offenders. Living conditions in overcrowded cells. Cramped quarters. Inmates sleep in close quarters, often sharing a single mattress or sleeping on the floor. Privacy is non-existent, with overcrowding forcing inmates to perform all daily activities in the presence of others. Poor ventilation. The lack of proper ventilation exacerbates health risks, particularly in older facilities where infrastructure has not been adequately maintained. Sanitation issues. Toilets are often shared by dozens of inmates, leading to unsanitary conditions that contribute to the spread of diseases. Violence is an ever-present reality in South African prisons, with gang culture playing a dominant role in shaping the daily lives of inmates. For many, joining a gang is not a choice, but a necessity for survival. The Numbers Gang, comprising the 26, 27s, and 28s, is the most infamous prison gang network in South Africa. Each faction has its own hierarchy, rules, and roles, with inmates often coerced into joining one of these groups. 26, focused on smuggling and financial gain. 27s, enforcers, known for their use of violence to maintain order. 28s, dominant in sexual violence and control of territory within the prison. Assaults, fights between inmates are common, often sparked by disputes over food, space, or gang rivalries. Sexual violence. Rape is a widespread issue, with gang members frequently using sexual violence as a means of asserting dominance and instilling fear. Prison guards are often complicit in the violence, either turning a blind eye or actively participating in gang activities. Corruption within the system allows gangs to smuggle contraband, including weapons and drugs, further fueling the cycle of violence. Life in a South African prison is marked by a strict routine that offers little opportunity for personal growth or rehabilitation. The monotony of daily life, combined with the harsh conditions, takes a significant toll on inmates' mental health. Morning roll call. Inmates are counted and inspected at the start of each day. Work assignments. Some inmates are assigned tasks such as laundry, cleaning, or kitchen work, though opportunities for employment are limited. Lockdowns. Many facilities enforce long periods of lockdown, confining inmates to their cells for up to 23 hours a day. Meals are often minimal and lack nutritional value. Common complaints include small portion sizes, repetitive menus, and spoiled food. For inmates without family support to send additional food or money, hunger is a constant struggle. Recreational facilities are scarce, and access is often restricted due to staffing shortages or security concerns. Some prisons offer limited access to books or communal televisions, but these are exceptions rather than the norm. The state of healthcare in South African prisons is dire, with limited access to medical services and a high prevalence of infectious diseases. Tuberculosis, TB, overcrowding, and poor ventilation contribute to the rapid spread of TB, which remains a significant health threat in South African prisons. HIV/AIDS. With an estimated 20% of the prison population living with HIV, access to antiretroviral therapy is crucial but inconsistent. Mental health. Depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder are common among inmates, exacerbated by the harsh conditions and lack of mental health services. Staff shortages. Many prisons lack sufficient medical personnel, forcing inmates to wait weeks or months for treatment. Inadequate facilities. Clinics within prisons are often under-resourced, lacking essential medications and equipment. Stigma and fear. Inmates may avoid seeking medical care due to fear of reprisal from gangs or stigma associated with certain illnesses. Rehabilitation. A missed opportunity. While South Africa's Department of Correctional Services emphasizes rehabilitation, the reality falls far short of the ideal. Programs designed to educate or rehabilitate inmates are often underfunded and poorly implemented. Educational opportunities. Basic education. Some prisons offer literacy and numeracy classes, but these programs are limited in scope and availability. Vocational training. Workshops teaching skills such as carpentry, plumbing, or tailoring exist in some facilities but are underutilized due to resource constraints. Challenges to rehabilitation. Gang interference. Gang dominance within prisons often undermines rehabilitation efforts, as inmates are pressured to prioritize loyalty to their gang over personal growth. Lack of resources. Many programs lack the necessary funding and staff to operate effectively, leaving inmates without meaningful opportunities for self-improvement. The psychological impact of incarceration in South Africa is profound. Inmates face constant stress, fear, and isolation, leading to a range of mental health issues. Depression. The monotony and hopelessness of prison life contribute to widespread depression among inmates. Anxiety. The constant threat of violence and the uncertainty of life behind bars exacerbate anxiety disorders. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Many inmates enter prison with pre-existing trauma from their lives outside, which is often compounded by the harsh realities of incarceration. Prisons rarely have dedicated mental health professionals on staff. Counseling services are scarce, and those that do exist are often overwhelmed by demand. For those who manage to survive their time in a South African prison, the challenges don't end upon release. Former inmates often face significant barriers to reintegration into society. A criminal record can make it nearly impossible to find employment, leading many former inmates to return to crime out of desperation. Employers are often unwilling to hire individuals with a history of incarceration, perpetuating cycles of poverty and recidivism. Rebuilding relationships with family members can be difficult, particularly for inmates whose incarceration strained or severed familial ties. Many former inmates struggle to regain the trust of their loved ones. Conclusion: a broken system. Life in a South African prison is a grueling experience, defined by overcrowding, violence, and systemic neglect. While some efforts have been made to address these issues, significant challenges remain. The stories of those who endure incarceration highlight the urgent need for reform, not just to improve conditions within prisons, but to create a justice system that prioritizes rehabilitation and reintegration over punishment. Addressing these issues will require a multifaceted approach, including investment in infrastructure, better training for prison staff, and expanded opportunities for education and rehabilitation. Until these changes are made, South Africa's prisons will continue to serve as a stark reflection of the broader societal challenges the country faces.